Granny Greensocks, flying backwards through a world of delusion towards truth. We're just on our way to the allotment shop to see if they have any cabbage plantlets that I can buy to fill the gaps on the allotment. I went to B&Q and they had nothing left but herbs, so I'm hoping it's not too late in the season. I also need to go to the allotment and get up the cabbages. If they haven't already burst, they will soon, because we've had quite a lot of rain lately. I've got 3 left, and then after that there's no more cabbage. So they have some plants. Tomatoes, herbs, corn, nothing I need. Here we are, and I'll see if my cabbages have exploded. The allotment next to mine was waist high with weeds, and I think some people complained to the allotment office and they sent someone to hack down the weeds. So it's looking a bit less horrific. And I think they even persuaded the guy who took it over to come and do some work, but all he's done is rotivate, and I can't see he's planted anything. Anyway, here's our remaining allotment. The early potatoes not looking terribly exciting, and the potatoes are very small. The main crop is still doing okay. I have been coming and watering them with watering cans full of water. That's where I planted the leeks. They're alive at the moment anyway. And this is where the mouldy garlic was. I've dug a lot of it up, and a lot of the potatoes. Strangely, these potatoes were actually better and bigger than the earlies that we planted ourselves. Sweet corn coming along. The one rogue bean. It's really made itself right at home in there. Lots of bean flowers. The cucumbers and the courgette on the compost heap doing quite well. Oh yes, a lot of the courgettes are coming out like this with pointy ends. Maybe the compost heap is not as nutritious as it could be because it's quite an old compost heap. These are broccoli. I've already taken some flowers, but they'll probably come up with more like that. And here are my cabbages. So I've had that one and that one and that one. I think it is beginning to split. You can see that outer layer has split. This one's okay. This one's okay. But with all the rain we're getting, I think the best policy is to take them all out of the ground, take them home and sit them on the side, and then they'll keep a week or two and we can just consume them. The carrots, I don't think they're big enough yet to do anything with. They would be popping out of the ground. You'd be able to see them if they were ready. There's a little one, but no. The beetroots, let's have a look at them. Golf ball size. Not quite big enough. Since I took the cover off, the leaves have been ravaged a bit. I was picking them off to put it in stews. They're not so nice anymore. The broad beans need harvesting. The onions have been falling over. We really should take them away as well. These peas are making a bit of progress. I see some little flowers there. I've only got 3 Brussels sprout plants left. 2 of them were so ravaged with whitefly, I pulled them off and threw them away, and the ones that are left seem okay, which is a relief. And my runner beans, they're a bit late, but they're all coming into flower together. I think these 4 must be the traditional kind of purpley black variety, and these are all the white ones that I started with last year. And over here it's a mixture, just filling in the gaps. More nettle tea for the Brussels sprouts. Delicious. The tank hasn't actually filled right up. I thought it would with the rain we had the last few days, and it's full of little wriggly things. I don't suppose the cabbages mind wriggly things. It smells just like a public toilet. And the beans get some too. If I'd managed to get some more cauliflower or cabbage seedlings, I'd have put them in here in the gap and they'd have come up just as these were being harvested, I guess. But I think it's probably too late in the season. We're halfway through July already. So it's not quite the middle of July, it's the 9th. And I am aware that I've actually lost the oomph and enthusiasm that I used to have for this allotment, and I probably haven't been coming as frequently as I could have done. And I hardly grew any seedlings at home, and the ones I did, they took a long time to germinate. With the garden centres are selling this awful stuff that's supposed to be seed and potting compost, and it looks like it's half sand, and it's really not suited to a lot of seedlings. They didn't grow in it at all well. So next year I want to find some really rich and pleasant potting compost and focus more on growing little seedlings that I can then keep and plant out through the season, because that's the only way to do it. If you plant them all out at once, if you buy a tray of seedlings from the garden shop or something, I suppose you could keep a couple of them in pots to kind of hold them back and then plant them later. And what I've been tending to do is plant them all out at once, all 6 of them or whatever you get. And then they all come ready at once, which is not what you want. So what we're having for dinner tonight, I decided, I'm going to fry one of my onions that isn't going to keep, and some of the garlic that didn't grow very big, but it's still usable. And I'm going to fry a whole load of shredded cabbage in it, and I'm going to sweat it with some broad beans. We've got loads of broad beans still, and mix in some boiled new potatoes and have a kind of a vegan dish. I'm sure it's very healthy to eat that sort of thing, and it doesn't taste too bad, although obviously it's not as toothsome as something with meat in it. But I am kind of moving towards the idea that after all, we don't need to have that much meat product in our diet. The thing is, a little while ago I came across this woman called Nina Teichholz, who's written a book called The Big Fat, what is it, The Big Fat Lie, The Big Fat Surprise, she called it. And in it, she details how we've all been misled by Ansel Keys, who did this study which she apparently debunks. And she says she spent 10 years doing this research, and I kind of took her at her word. But now I see from what other commentators are saying, in fact, she is a journalist, she's not a scientist, and she's not a disinterested investigator, because apparently she's in the pay of the meat industry. So there goes that wonderful idea. Better stop cooking everything with lard and dripping after all and go back to the old vegetable oils. I need to find out more about these vegetable oils, seed oils, before I turn my back on them and rush back to putting olive oil in everything. I know that olive oil, everybody agrees olive oil's fine, it's lovely, it's cold pressed. Olive oil is full of nutrients and natural, and it's a basic part of the original Mediterranean diet that Ansel Keys actually thought was the best. As for sunflower oil, well, I don't know. You see, according to Nina Teichholz, it's been through 3 chemical processes, that it's been heated, it's had the oil extracted by means of some chemical solvent, and then it's been heat bleached, I think. And there was another step in the process which I'm not quite clear on, and it does sound as though it can't possibly be that good for you. And also anything that comes in plastic, I'm definitely avoiding. It's crazy. I heard one commentator say today that 80%, 85% of the plastic we throw away, well, that we recycle, but in effect it's thrown away because it all ends up in landfill because nobody can recycle it. And that's just absolutely crazy. We're just filling the world with more and more plastic. We're ingesting it. We're filling our bodies with it. And I'm resisting the tide in whatever way I can. And who knows, maybe I'll live to be 90, maybe I'll live to be 100. Or maybe I'll die tomorrow. But if not, I'll see you again soon. Bye.